Ready to get back after it here today with practice and play tomorrow night, and then get a good practice Thursday before we head out on Friday to Incarnate Word. Obviously, so always been a really good series against Tulsa. So going there tomorrow night, sold out. It's going to be crazy, like it always is. It's over there when we go there, and I think, I was told that you can't even buy this ticket unless you buy a package or this season. So I think that's kind of cool. It's kind of how we are with Bedlam, right? It's kind of makes you feel a little bit like, wow, this has gotten to be really cool. So excited to play them, and get to see Maddie Sue Montgomery. I know it's always a special time for John as well, as he goes back, to where he spent a lot of time there. So excited to get with our team here today, and get back to practice. And they had yesterday off, even though most of our kids are in and out of here with extra work. It's really cool to see what they've done and how important this is to them. So we're excited to get back and see what the week unfolds.
Kenny, this is kind of a super random question. During the full swing of off season, how many girls are in the portal at a given time?
Oh, I don't have any clue. I really don't. There's a lot. Mm-hmm. I think the most alarming fact in all of this is that there's not only a lot, there's a lot that don't ever get placed. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the most alarming thing that goes on.
I know. What's kind of the process you like to take navigating that? And because you ended up with kids like Lexi and Rachel this season, and I know you've kind of had a track record of getting some pretty big pickups there.
So what do you mean by process exactly? Like
when it comes to deciding, hey, this is a girl that we should maybe think about, maybe not. How do you go through that?
Well, I'm trying to think how I want to answer this. You can't talk to anyone until they hit the portal. Mm-hmm. But if you don't think that there's rumors that are swirling around about who's going on the portal, that would be very naive. Mm-hmm. So if I hear a rumor, I'm going to pay attention, right? And I'm gonna investigate, and I'm gonna look around. I'm gonna check stats. I'm gonna check video. We have a video system here called Synergy that has every team in the country in it. So I can go in there, and our staff can go in there and watch everyone. It's a scouting deal. So it's real easy to see people. I would think anybody that's trying to win the final game, truly trying to win the final game, is always thinking ahead of what are we going to need next year. So if you wait and are just reactive, I think you're not going to get players out of the portal that are what you're looking for. If you're proactive and you hear stuff and you're like, well, let's take a look and see, and we would be interested. It doesn't fit us, or not good enough, or whatever it is, you just kind of go through that, and you start making a list, right? Mm-hmm. But you cannot make contact until mm-hmm. they're in there. So the hard part is, if you just start your investigation and don't reach out on the first day, then you may lose out too. So you better be ready and prepared and willing to make those calls fast.
Do all teams have access to Synergy, or is that some programs? Is that like a program you buy, or? It's
a subscription that we subscribe to, that we turn in, like after each game, we upload our game to Synergy because we're a Synergy client. Okay. There's probably 150 schools in there, but it doesn't matter if you're a Synergy client or not. If you played one of those 150 schools, which all those teams do, then you're going to be in there on those games. So you may not have as many at-bats in there as we have, mm-hmm. but you're going to have some, and I'll be able to see enough. And anytime we get alerted about someone or someone's in there, we go to their stats, we go to game footage, and then we go a step farther. We peel apart the stats. I want to know what you did against teams that we play, mm-hmm. the level that we play. There's a lot of kids out there that have really good careers, but they don't, maybe 10% of their games are against Power 5 teams. That's not necessarily going to translate here with the schedule that we play in the conference. So you gotta really look through stats. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of averages that are really good, and they come here and play, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? You know what I mean? But it did. I mean, they earned it. Just the competition's not the same.
Speaking more to the portal, it came out you guys are going to bring in Joe Pollard. So, I mean, what can you just say about her as a player?
I can't comment yet. Yeah, I don't have an official signing. So, but I saw what you saw, so that's cool.
I mean, you talk about not wanting to lose out on any girls into the portal, but is it kind of hard to find that fine line between, all right, well, we don't lose out on this girl, but then if someone does enter that, it's at a position group that you need, and you're like, oh, well, should we drop everything we're doing, trying to go after her? I mean, what's that kind of like? Have you ever been in that kind of situation before?
I mean, I can't, like, these kids sign, like, multi-year scholarships, so I can't take it away unless you break team rules. So normally that just works out. It just works out because somebody wants to play more than what they're playing here. We have a lot of girls who leave here that I constantly follow, and you know, they it was probably a really good move because they want to play. So they got to figure out where that's at. We have some that leave with false hope. That's part of it too. We have some that leave because their parents give them really bad advice. That happens. So it just is what it is. We just try to filter through what we need to know on the new kids and try to get the best information that we can get. Does that answer that? Or okay, it's kind of all over the map.
You got a taste of Big 12 play. I think it's 4 games outside of Big 12 play before you head back in the conference. What are you hoping to get out of these next 4 games?
4 wins. That's number one. And you know, I want to get our starters work. I want to get these kids that are busting their tails work. So I hope that we can go out there and bang the ball around and pitch well. And we need to see Ivy get some innings. She needs work. You know, I had a good talk, with her today, and I could see how it'd be easy to think that we've lost confidence, and we haven't. We just haven't had opportunities. Less games in a week. We're not playing 5 games on the weekend and all that. We're just playing like 3 to 4 now, each week. So I need to get her work. I gotta get people like Claire Tim and Lexi McDonald and Katie Lott and Scotland David. These people need at bats. I have some other young kids that you haven't seen a whole lot of yet. They need at bats. So I need our starters to go bang the ball around, and so I can get these young kids into and get them some really good work. So that's all I want. I just want us to keep getting better, keep learning. I want us to keep becoming a great team, and understanding the needs of what every kid needs, and then just trying to help these guys be the best leaders that they can be. Because we're getting ready to get in that tough time. We're not getting ready. We're there. We're in that tough time where at bats are harder to get, and people's minds can start to wander. Because you're not playing enough. So got to be able to keep those guys, in tune and motivated.
You mentioned going to Tulsa. How important is that to maybe see a fan that doesn't get to come to Stillwater every weekend?
It's awesome. I love going there. It's a unique ballpark. Dugouts are tiny, underground, and just like scoop by people that get by, but it's a cool little vibe, with all the rock stands, and it's just got a neat backdrop and all that. So it's cool. Like I got a lot of people there, asking me for tickets, and I'm like, man, I can't help you. Like we get 40. Like I don't. It's crazy. So it'll be a huge crowd. Be a lot of orange. There'll be a lot of blue too. I'm really good friends with the new football coach there, Kevin Wilson, and he called me last night and told me he's bringing 100 of his closest friends, and they're going to talk trash to me the whole game. I just told him, bring it on. I can't wait. So it's exciting, just having fun and just talking about that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to go see him, and again, see Maddie Sue Montgomery, who's on staff there. That's always exciting. So it'd be good for everyone.
How'd that friendship start with Kevin Wilson?
When I was at OU.
Okay.
He was the offensive line coach there, and then became the offensive coordinator. And I'm friends with a lot of those guys. The way that Coach Stoops treated me, I've talked about this in the past. Like he treated me like a staff guy. I traveled on all the trips and got to, I was on all the bowl trips and got all those championship rings in the conference and a national championship football ring. sits right there in my office, and I was treated like a coach. It was wild, and that was him, and that's I think who was affecting me in a great way at a time when I was the head of athletic turf. I wasn't a coach. I mean, even though I was probably coaching my employees, but I didn't know at the time that I was being groomed by a guy to do this at some point in time. So he's important, and all those guys that I got around, they were hard on me, but they were honest, and I've had some really fun nights with a lot of them, and things that I can't even repeat. Right? It's just fun stuff, and not bad, just really kind of personal moments that you have, and they're like, man, this is cool. You know what I mean? So good dude, good football coach, got a great family, fun to be around.
Had you stayed in contact with him, or when he got the job, did it kind of reinstall?
Yeah, I hadn't talked to him. For probably 5 or 6 years. I get random texts, you know what I mean, from these guys, just when you're like, oh my gosh, that was cool, you know what I mean? But what's crazy is a guy in my coffee group, Marlon, who's one of our ring leaders out there, his grandson just committed to play football there. He was the top offensive lineman in the state of Texas last year. And OSU was talking to him some, and a couple other schools, but he decided there because of him. And so I got a chance to really reconnect because I knew about this kid. And I said, hey, you're going to meet a buddy of mine, blah, 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 blah. And he texted back, and then we started talking. And so we've talked, but we hadn't talked a lot over the last 5 or 6 years.
With these weeks coming up, like with Tulsa and Cornwall, you said you like to get some opportunities with them. Do you like these weeks, or would you like to stay in Big 12 play, or is it just a one game at a time scenario?
I think a break is good. I mean, I wish it was halfway through, you know what I mean? But you don't get to choose that. I think Kansas had the first week off, and then they'll go straight through. So the break's fine. I wish it was easier to find teams to play. I wish we didn't have to go all the way to San Antonio. But I'm grateful that they want to do a play. I told them, I said, hey, we want to play. We'll come there. We'll do whatever that you need us, do because we want to play. I don't want the weekend off. So I'm glad that worked out. But I don't care. I think you need a little bit of breaks from action in your conference. So I don't think it hurts. Next year we've already got our schedule. There will be no breaks. It'll be 3 extra series. It's gonna be wild. So it's gonna be something that we've never done here.
I know we haven't talked about the new teams. Of the 4 coming in, do they all have softball?
3 of them.
3 of them do?
Yeah. The only one that doesn't is Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other ones are good.
That's all for Coach.